Here I am in Criftins Church, the first time I have led a service here for 16 or more weeks, I think, and I'm going to just do two short readings and a reflection. Today is the fifth Sunday of Trinity. The first reading is from the Old Testament, Genesis chapter 25, and I'm beginning to read at verse 24. When her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in Rebekah's womb. The first came forth red, all his body like a hairy mantle, so they called his name Esau. Afterwards his brother came forth, and his hand had taken hold of Esau's heel, so they called him Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when the twins were born. Makes me feel like a young dad. I'm going to read from Luke's Gospel. This is chapter 22. And I'm reading from verse 24. A dispute arose among the disciples, which of them was to be regarded as the greatest. Jesus said to them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, make them feel the weight of their authority. But let that not be the way among you. Rather, let the greatest among you become as the least, and let the leader be the one who serves. In that story in Genesis, we find the twins struggling in Rebekah's womb, almost struggling to be the firstborn. And although Esau, he makes it out first, yet Jacob is already holding him back with his hand. And as the story develops, we find the rivalry between these two brothers. And we hear how Jacob outwits his elder brother Esau and takes off him his birthright and steals the blessing of the firstborn from him. I guess rivalry is a basic part of human nature. And I've heard many people say, particularly in schools, that actually it's a good thing. And I can understand that. At least in those formative years, it's really important to push our boundaries, to discover our strengths, our potential, to see that some qualities we have aren't, other people don't have them, to see that we're good at things and in some areas we really shine. And I suppose the best environment for that is a competitive environment. But surely, as we mature in life, we really should come to a place where, being the best isn't so important. Winning doesn't matter that much. And I don't mean that we don't do our best anymore, or that we don't take pride in what we do. What I mean is that we don't mind if somebody's better than us, even if somebody is much better than us. If somebody takes a job that actually they do better than us from us, it's okay. We can let it go. But getting that maturity doesn't come easily. To be honest, every congregation I've ever been involved in, and there's been many, many now down through the years, there has been some degree of rivalry. And usually it's not helpful. Quite often it's an ugly awkward thing. And in the church, we often pussyfoot around it. We don't like to tackle it head on. We're not sure that the two people who are vying together, perhaps have the maturity to recognise and to face up and to change what's going on. But Jesus doesn't pussyfoot at all with the disciples. He's probably really cheesed off. He's heard these discussions before. And so he completely turns their thinking on its head with this wonderful thing. Whoever would be considered great among you should be the willing servant of all. And this is the journey that we should be on. A journey where we no longer have to be the best. We have to prove ourselves to anybody. A journey where we don't mind acknowledging others, where we can step back rather than step forward. But it's actually not a journey that is easy or that any of us has completed. And I think the key is to acknowledge it to ourselves. When something happens and it hurts, when somebody takes the credit perhaps for something that you've been very involved in, or when you feel that you're being sort of pushed out of a role that you've done before, or that you feel that you've got a right to. Or maybe you just don't feel that somebody has acknowledged your talent or your skill or your time. These things happen and they do hurt. All of us know this. But what we do if we are on the journey that Jesus calls us on is that we are able to hand those over to God. We are able to let him take away the hurt and our need to be acknowledged, our need to be the best. That we have the grace to step back and let somebody who we regarded as a rival not be a rival anymore. That we let God fill our hearts with the desire to put all our talents actually at the disposal of the love of God and to serve others with them. Do you know, this teaching of Jesus is so beautiful when we do see it in action. When we actually see somebody who embodies this Christian virtue. It is a beautiful thing. And so now you go and be that beautiful thing. Amen.